domain of a function. Want to know that domain of a function is just that value of x. When you substitute it into the function, then you get a real number. But there are certain things that you need to observe. Two key things. The first is you do not want to have the denominator equals to a 0. And the second condition that is also equally important is that you do not want to get a square root of a negative number. Find the domain of number 1, f of x is equals to x minus 4 x squared minus 9. Now, when you look at the denominator, we note that when x is equals to 3, or when x is equals to negative 3, then we'll be dividing by 0. So for example, f of 3 will be equals to minus 1 divided by 0, which is undefined. That's the first thing. So that's the first thing we want to avoid. Then the second thing is we know that if it's negative 3, it will be negative 7 over 0, which is also undefined. So what we are saying that the function f of x, the value is known at all the other values of x, apart from x is equals to 3 and x is equals to negative 3. And therefore, when we are writing the domain, then we need to keep in mind that the domain will be from negative infinity to negative 3. Then we exclude negative 3, union negative 3 to 3. Then we exclude, then union 3 to infinity. Or in other terms, we could have said the domain is equals to x such that x is an element of the real numbers with x is equals not equals to negative 3 and x not equals to 3. Another example is if we are dealing with the square root. For example, f of x is the square root of x plus 2. Remember, we do not want to get the square root of a negative number. So we know that if the value of x is less than negative 2, then f of x will be equal to the square root of a negative value. And that's what we want to avoid. And that's basically then tells us that our domain then will be equals to, we'll start from negative 2 all the way to infinity. If you want to write it in a different way, you can see it is x such that x is an element of R and x greater than or equals to negative 2. So actually that tells us that negative 2 is inclusive in this solution because negative 2 will give us 0. So negative 2 is acceptable. Is f of x is equals to x minus 1. So domain x will take from negative infinity to infinity. Or you can say x such that x is an element of R. X takes all the values on the real number system. Last one, the fourth one is f of x is x over x squared plus 4. Do we have any value that will make the denominator equals to 0? No. Negative 2 will be positive. Positive 2 will still be positive. Therefore, we make it easier for ourselves, and therefore the domain will be such that x takes negative infinity to infinity because all the values there are acceptable. We can either write that or we could say It is x such that x is an element of R. And that gives us the solution to that function that we have.